at large. Now, I guess the government is going to tell your children how to think about these issues. So on Monday, there's a feminist writer named Jessica Valenti, and she made pretty clear why a lot of conservatives are looking to homeschool their kids. Okay, she tweeted out this. She tweeted out, to the folks who find LGBT language confusing, if my daughter's second grade class gets it, so can you. Okay, and here is what the picture that she tweeted out says. It says, lesbian, a woman who has only romantic feelings about women. Gay, a man who has only romantic feelings about men. Bi, a person who has romantic feelings about men and women. Why would a 7-year-old need to know these things, you ask? Because we have to indoctrinate them at 7 years old. Otherwise, they'll turn out to be intolerant Americans. Transgender, a person who is assigned male or female at birth but doesn't identify that way. Okay, that is so anti-scientific, I cannot even begin to explain it. Okay, you're not assigned male or female at birth. It's not like the doctor sits there and flips a coin and goes, you know what? You're a male. I just figured it out. We're going to assign it to you. Right? Just like you're given an assignment in class. No, the doctor looks at the pee-pee or the juju and then says, you are a male or a female. Okay, this is really not difficult. Seriously, the doctor does not assign sex at birth. By the way, if you're going to say the doctor assigns sex, assigns it, then you're going to have to go back to the ultrasound because by 10 weeks, you know whether your baby's a boy or a girl. In fact, we can tell even earlier than that in some cases simply by looking at the mother's bloodstream because certain cells from the baby are present in blood tests for the mother, and you can tell whether the baby is a boy or a girl. That's not a sign. I mean, this notion that sex is some sort of social construct is so insane, or that gender is completely untethered from sex. It doesn't even make sense according to the advocates of transgenderism. If gender and sex are completely untethered, then why is it that transgender people want to appear to look like women? Why is it that transgender people find it important to use female names? If all this is untethered from sex and completely arbitrary, then wouldn't you just assume you could be transgender without picking up any of those cultural stereotypes that have been created by that patriarchal white cisgender society? And also, these second graders are learning a person who is assigned male or female at birth and does identify that way is a cisgender person. A queer person, it's complex and can mean a lot of things. A person who doesn't identify as straight or bi or gay or lesbian. Well, thanks for that clarification. And straight is a man who only has romantic feelings about women or a woman who only has romantic feelings about men. Again, I'm so glad that second graders are learning this in Jessica Valenti's second grade child's class. Very important stuff. The reason I bring this up is because the same government that says it gets to decide whether your child should live or die in Britain is the same government that gets to decide whether your school teaches you this propaganda or not. Okay, so there's a Jewish school in Britain. It's been threatened for 2 years by the British authorities because it is a Jewish school, meaning they do not want to teach propaganda from the LGBT left. They're not interested in teaching about the moral equivalence between heterosexual sex and homosexual sex. They're not interested in teaching about the socially approved ideas of transgenderism. They say that God made men and God made women, and there are some people who are born intersex, but that's not the same thing as transgenderism. That school is now being threatened with its license revocation in Britain. Okay, so the same government that's telling you how to raise your child is telling you when your child has to die. Centralized government is such a nightmare. This is why it sort of matters when you see these pieces that seem to be on the wild left, because everything that starts off on the wild left ends up on the mainstream left within about 5 minutes. Right? The whole goal here is indoctrination of children. And you can see this even insofar as there's another story that's insane. Apparently, according to LifeSite News, transgender activists gathered outside a Rhode Island Catholic church last week. It's a Catholic church, for God's sake, to protest a lecture delivered by pediatrician Michelle Cretella, who views affirming transgenderism in kids as a form of child abuse. Okay, it's a Catholic church. What do you think she is going to say? By the way, I tend to agree with this position. I tend to agree with the position that if my 2-year-old came to me and said, Daddy, I'm a girl, and I said to him, you know what, you're right, kid, you're a girl. Ignore all your biology, you're a girl. That purposefully confusing children is a form of child abuse. I think that there's a solid case to be made for this. Michelle, certainly the idea of genitally mutilating or hormonally mutilating children, I think, is a form of child abuse, pretty obviously. In any case, Michelle Cretella is president of the American College of Pediatricians, and she's made it her mission to highlight the harmful effects of gender transitioning on children, according to Paul Bois over at Daily Wire. At the time of her comments, Rhode Island had recently enacted a law stripping parents of their right to object to providing treatment for gender transition to children who showed signs of gender dysphoria. Okay, the Roman Island Catholic explained the law, quote, last year, the state of Rhode Island made it illegal for a licensed medical professional to counsel a child away from the desire to change his or her gender identity. Yet it remains legal to inject that same child with hormone blockers and cross-sex hormones. Currently, Rhode Island public schools are deciding how to implement statewide transgender policies that would open up bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams to anyone who claims to be the opposite gender from their biological sex. It's one thing to argue that if you're a parent, you should be allowed to make the terrible decision about forwarding your child's transgender feelings. I say it's a terrible decision because studies show that well over 80% of all children who believe they are transgender when they are children outgrow it by the time they're teenagers. Very often they end up gay or lesbian. Okay, but the state has now mandated that everyone be indoctrinated with these ideas. And it's a very short leap from here to the idea that homeschooling itself should be illegal. So a lot of Christians, a lot of Jews have started taking their kids, Muslims too, have started taking their kids out of public schools and educating their children at home to avoid these social leftist strictures. Well, the state is not going to stand for that. The state is going to say that you are not licensed to do that and your kid is a truant. And then they will say next that if your kid does not learn what the state wants your kid to learn, then they will take your kid away from you and give him up to foster care. They'll send in child protective services. I am predicting this right now, okay? You can mark the date. I've been predicting this for months now. You can mark the date. Today is April 25th. Within 5 years, there will be a serious movement in this country to end homeschooling simply because everyone on the left believes that homeschooling is a threat to their social values. And the case will be made that you're bringing up kids to be intolerant, that you're bringing up kids to be cruel and nasty. Parental power will shrink as the power of the state grows. So anyway, this woman, Dr. Cretella, she was speaking at the St. Pius V Church in Providence and 40 LGBT activists showed up outside, and then they started protesting her. It's just astonishing. Again, they're protesting churches. This is why when people on the left say, why do you feel so threatened by all of this? Okay, you can do what you want. It's a free country. You know, go to whatever lefty church you want to go to. Don't go to church at all. I don't care. Right? Be gay, be lesbian, be transgender. You're an adult. Your decision. Okay? As a religious person, I can think your decisions are sinful. Doesn't matter. It's a free country. You can think I'm an idiot. But I will tell you that once you start going Adams, who gained his fame first for creating the cartoon Dilbert, and second for proclaiming that rape is a natural instinct of men and society a virtual prison for men's desires. Okay, that is taking Scott Adams wildly out of context. I believe Scott Adams' actual argument is that natural instincts of human beings are bad, and this is why you create civilizations, which I thought was a relatively uncomplicated and uncontroversial notion. In any case, this Molly Roberts continues, it's easy to cast West as just another lost man seduced by the far right's promise to provide a sense of purpose. All that pseudo-philosophy does suggest a preoccupation with the sort of existential problems figures such as psychologist Jordan Peterson, who has become a surprise lifestyle guru, claim they can solve. It's also possible to connect West's eccentric behavior on Twitter, this isn't the first time his forays into politics have discomfited some fans, to the mental health struggles that led to his 2017 hospitalization. So let's get this straight. Kanye West has been tweeting crazy crap for most of his career. I mean, I read you some of his tweets the other day, okay? We're like talking about finding antique fish tanks, right? That he needs an antique fish tank. Talking about how he is looking for a marble table, a marble conference table, because he can't actually have a meeting without a marble conference table. Okay? Kanye is the guy who tweeted, I love me some me, right? I mean, Kanye is famous for not being, unhinged might be a word that you might use in connection with Kanye. Right? This is a guy famous for charging on a stage in the middle of a music award ceremony to yell at Taylor Swift. And now, only now, does the left discover that Kanye might be a bit unstable. Why is he unstable? Because he tweeted that he likes Candace Owens videos. All right? Well, this is the way this is going to go. Also, I love that they link Jordan Peterson, a former professor at Harvard University and now a professor over at University of Toronto, widely understood to be one of the smarter humans alive, to Kanye West, that West is just another lost man seduced by the far right's promise to provide a sense of purpose. It's so funny how the left talks about this. They never talk about followers of Bernie Sanders this way. Right? Bernie Sanders promises to provide a sense of purpose also. Right? His sense of purpose lies in the collective. And his sense of purpose is, I will tell you how you can help fix all of the problems of planet Earth by giving me lots of power and by redistributing all wealth. The left never says, look at all of these Bernie bros, right? These are guys who are lost, looking for something to do, bored, useless, and now they found a sense of purpose in Bernie Sanders. But when it comes to somebody on the right, then all of a sudden it's lost, angry young man experiencing existential angst. Welcome to the real world where a lot of people experience existential angst. The question is, who can cater to that in a healthy way? Jordan caters to that in a healthy way, but now they're saying that Kanye West is a Jordan Peterson devotee or something. I wish Kanye West were a Jordan Peterson devotee. I mean, I think that would be really good for Kanye. In fact, Kanye, go over and listen to Jordan Peterson's lectures on the Bible, on the Enlightenment. I think that'd be great for you. But the Washington Post says that all of this makes Kanye West crazy. So he wasn't crazy when he was crazy. He's crazy when he's conservative. And the West is tweeting out deep thoughts, and the right is so excited. They're so excited because Kanye West is tweeting out things that sound kind of right-wing. Like he tweeted out that he supports Candace Owens. Candace Owens, nice gal. I'm friendly with Candace. Candace is, she works with Charlie Kirk over at Turning Point USA. She's a black conservative. And Kanye West tweeted out that he likes how she thinks. And now he tweets out, we have freedom of speech, but not freedom of thought. And then he also tweeted this one out. Okay, that's true, I think. And then he tweeted out, the thought police want to suppress freedom of thought. Okay, also true. And then he also tweeted out at one point that self-victimization is a disease. Agree with all of these things. And I'm looking forward to Kanye West tweeting out, facts don't care about your feelings. Like, I think it'll be great. But the right responded to Kanye West as though it was an earth-shattering thing that a big celebrity like Kanye West was saying things that were remotely conservative. It just demonstrates the right's desperation to be taken seriously in the sphere of pop culture. I think that the Roseanne ratings are another evidence of this. I think that the right wants to be taken seriously. They don't want to be seen as bad, evil people. And the pop culture decides who's seen as bad and evil. Pop culture tells you stories. And the folks in pop culture decide who gets to be portrayed as the villain and who gets to be portrayed as the hero. So every time somebody on the right is portrayed as not the villain, the right is willing to take it. So if Roseanne voted for Trump, even if she is pro-cross-dressing and pro-gay marriage and pro-promiscuity and pro-abortion, we'll go, well, you know what? At least she's treating us well, so we like Roseanne now. We're doing the same thing with Kanye West. But I would just warn folks on the right. You know, you can be happy that Kanye West said something that seems to be conservative, but let's not pretend that Kanye West is some sort of genius, okay? I will use every opportunity ever to play this clip. This is from Jimmy Kimmel's show, back when Jimmy Kimmel's show was not garbage. He had on Josh Groban, and Josh Groban, the singer, and Josh Groban saying some of the best Kanye West tweets. Here's what that sounds like.
Fur pillow, a heart to actually sleep on. Whatever happened to my antique fish tank?
You'll get all of your favorites.
Classical music is tight.
These are all his tweets.
Make awesome decisions in bike stores.
Okay, I would play the whole video because I love it so much. But Kanye West is not like a super intelligent human being, and he is certainly not politically intelligent. And so the right resonating to anything anyone in pop culture says because, look, that guy's famous. Okay.